Vabbè, adesso. Oh. Ci piace che le parole. Sto scegliendo.
What's going on, guys? K-Dub here with another episode of Crypto Zombie. Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day today. And yes, we are in front of the green screen today. Why is that? Very old school. Well, I think because today's video needs to be a little bit old school because I am being reminded of what we've done in the past. And I believe that we are about to enter the mania phase for Bitcoin, guys. If we have a look over here, we know that Bitcoin has been consolidating in this sort of, flag, pennant, whatever pattern. And ultimately, you could see we are attempting to break out of it. Now, obviously, these patterns generally do not get all the way to the end, right? They usually break out around 60 to 70% of the way through. And that's exactly where we're potentially at right now. Now, if you've been watching the channel, you do know that we've been speaking about the pi cycle top indicator and all these other signals that have been flashing. And the last time that we did essentially what we're doing right now, Bitcoin actually pumped 200%. Now, is that what we're going to see today? Well, obviously, guys, we do have the halving coming up in 10 days. So this is a big deal. Even if nothing happens on the actual day of the halving itself, we know that it has always led to insane price rallies for Bitcoin. Now, when I say we're in the mania phase, I don't believe we're in the euphoria phase just yet. That's when you want to start getting a little bit concerned. But when this does start to happen, you not only see Bitcoin start to move at very fast levels, you also see altcoins go bananas. And that is where I believe that we are at right now in the cycle. So there's a lot that I want to talk about today. Specifically, I wanted to discuss different sectors for the altcoins and some specific coins that I've been looking at, which I will be bringing out to you now over the next few weeks and months, because as I said, this is that time. So we've been talking about Bitcoin for literally a year and a half on the channel. We were bullish at 15,000 when everybody else was bearish, saying it's going to go down to 10, 3. Well, now Bitcoin is putting in new all-time highs. And obviously for a lot of people, it is quite expensive to get one whole coin. Now, obviously at the end of the day, that will always be essentially the goal is to accumulate more Bitcoin, but there are so many opportunities right now, guys, and that's essentially what I want to share with you, because these are those opportunities in which if you can't get to that 1 Bitcoin or 2 Bitcoin or 10 Bitcoin or whatever your goal is, this is where you see those 1000x altcoin skyrocketing. And if you don't believe that it can happen, well, all I can say is then I guess you're new, because we have seen multiple 100x, 1000x coins throughout these cycles. We've even participated in some of them on this channel, which I will obviously get into in a bit. But first, guys, I wanted to start off talking about ultimately what's going on with Bitcoin, and then I want you to stick around because I want to talk about some of the driving narratives that we're going to see in the altcoin space, and I'm also going to talk about some coins right now that you can have a look at if you guys are interested. So you could see that Bitcoin essentially tried to fall in to this guppy. And I mean, look at that massive month. Now remember, Bitcoin has never closed 8 monthly green candles in its history. So if we were to do that, that would literally prove that this time is in fact different. And I know that that's a very scary phrase to throw out. This time is different, right? How foolish of you. Well, we went below the previous all-time high. That never happened. We then put in a new all-time high before the halving. That's never happened, right? We've also never had an ETF, and we've never had 8 consecutive green candles for months. And, this is showing a lot of buying pressure, just at the beginning of this month. Now, of course, anything can change. We still have 3 weeks left to go. But right now, that's a pretty incredibly bullish monthly candle so far. And as I was speaking to you guys, you could see right here that basically where we are is lining up with the previous all-time high and coming into contact right here with the top moving average of this pi cycle indicator. That is exactly what we are doing right now. Now, obviously, history does not repeat. It often does rhyme. But as I showed you guys, the last time that we broke above these levels, Bitcoin was up 250% in 350 days. And if you just want to take this lower top, it was up 225% in just 147 days. And the thing is, guys, is, you think these candles are crazy now. It's going to become normal to start seeing $10,000 daily candles, right? I mean, this is just what happens as price continues. And what we're still doing is consolidating right here. And the next area when we're looking at these Fibonacci's is potentially, to about the 1.618, which says that Bitcoin after this break, I'm not saying we can't have a 20 or 30% correction. It's possible, but I wouldn't really let that freak you out because most likely you're going to end up seeing around $100,000 to $102,000 Bitcoin relatively soon, right? We're still in this parabola. It has not been broken yet. In fact, we have not even tested it for the fourth time, which would be the textbook, 4 touches to continue the pattern. And if you want to just take a legacy trend line, Bitcoin has seriously been putting in this upwards logarithmic trend. And you could see we had multiple points of touches down here. So yeah, could we have a correction? Could Bitcoin try to freak people out, come back to some of these levels? It's possible. But again, Bitcoin usually doesn't like to give people what they want. Now, here is what's happening. As Bitcoin breaks its all-time high, you generally have these people that come out and say Bitcoin is too expensive. Now, is Bitcoin actually too expensive at these prices? Well, if you think Bitcoin is going to $1 million, then no, I think this is a great buy. But there are just people, last cycle, when Bitcoin, or the previous one, when Bitcoin went to 20,000 and we broke that for the first time, people said Bitcoin is too expensive. I'm not paying that much for Bitcoin. Bitcoin went to $70,000 anyway, right? Because Bitcoin doesn't care. But what ends up happening is a lot of people start speculating into the altcoin space. And as you can see, we are literally just beginning to have this altcoin move, right? And you could see on the market cap, we were down here at around 69, right, billion, and we went all the way up to around a $1 trillion market cap for these altcoins. And you could see that that happened in a very, very short period of time. In fact, it happened in about 500 days, but if you want to take it to the previous peak, that was only about 300 days, so about a year. And this is where you saw those explosive growths in the altcoins. The other thing to point out is the similarities down here in the money flow, as well as this RSI. You could see very similar, right? So history doesn't repeat, but again, not to sound like a broken record, it does in fact rhyme. So that's what I want to talk about today. But before I get into everything, I do want to just give a massive shout out again, guys. I don't know if you've been over on the MetaSignals Discord. We just released version 2. Okay? And my goodness, guys, look at some of these calls that we've had right here, okay? These potential longs on XRP, right? Look at all these different ones that we have over here. We have FET, amazing call, target 3. Amazing call on Rune. We had target 3 hit. We had the second target hit here. And remember, these are closes below the stop loss. So as long as it doesn't close below it, then the trade stays open. And out of 37 trades, guys, 37 trades, we only had 4 losers. We had 33 winners. 33 out of 37 of these were absolute winners, guys. So again, if you're interested in getting this lifetime access NFT, it's only going to get better. I highly suggest you check out MetaSignals below, guys. So that's just something that, I'm definitely interested in. Now, let me start here. The good old days. This is when I used to do interviews on the channel. So, we have been quite fortunate to have been in the space for quite some time, and often I have a bit of a knack for understanding where these markets are going. Now, this is a interview that I did with the CEO of Matic or Polygon. You may remember this. Now, what's hilarious is this came out on May 9th of 2019. And I remember telling people about Matic and telling people about layer 2 solutions. Nobody cared. Nobody was interested. It wasn't even a thing, right? Well, let's have a look at when I actually did this interview. So we did this on May 9th of 2019. Now, this is there's a reason I'm showing you this. It's not just to brag. I want to show you something. So if we go back to May 9th of 2019, that's way back here. Way back here, guys. So the price of Polygon, when I did that interview, was about 0.025 cents, okay? And we could see at the peak here, it actually went as high as $3. Now, why am I pointing this out? I'm pointing this out because if you weren't around when this was going on, you could see that if you held on to these and you got in early and you were able to hold through the turbulent times, look at how much of a reward that was. This is literally one of those 1000x altcoins. But look at this. If I zoom in, back here, right, to this area, and you could barely even see, it looks like absolutely nothing on the charts, right? Look what it did, and look down here. It looks like a flat line. Well, let's zoom into that right there, and I'm going to show you something crazy. We're going to zoom in. All right. Oh, let me get this out of there because that's kind of ruining it. Let me zoom in right here. Okay. Now look at this chart. Look at this chart. It was down here at 0.003. Then it went all the way up to, 0.02. Then it dumped all the way down to 0.01. Then it skyrocketed to 0.04. Then it dumped all the way down over 80% to 0.009. And my point is imagine when I had put this interview out, the price skyrocketed all the way up here, right? And then it went and it dumped down. And these people were saying, you know what? It just crashed 70%. Screw this. It's a pump and dump. I'm not going to hold through all this. I'm not going to hold through all this turbulence, right? Now let's refresh it again and let's have a look at what we were just looking at. What we were just looking at is this area down here. This area down here, guys. So you have to be forward thinking and you have to understand that when it comes to crypto, it is illogical. The market caps make no sense when you enter into these mania phases. It is going to be rough, especially in the beginning when a coin launches, right? But what I always like to do is hold Bitcoin as my core position. That'll always be my core position. And then I like to speculate in some of these earlier ones. I'm really not interested, honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I don't really care about holding Ethereum or Solana or, AVAX or Cardano or anything like that. Those are very established coins. And yes, they might outpace Bitcoin potentially, but they also might not. Look at what happened with XRP. Look at how many people have been holding XRP. And XRP, being a top coin, still never hit a new all-time high yet. It still hasn't done it yet. So just because it's a blue collar or So just because it's a blue chip doesn't mean that it's going to outpace Bitcoin. That is not always the case. And also Bitcoin is the safest coin to hold. So you kind of have two camps of the equation. I've had people reach out to me and call me an old man boomer because I said I was allocating 5% of my portfolio to altcoins and then keeping 95% Bitcoin. But it's all about perspective. If you have $100 and you're putting $5 into a coin, okay, maybe that's not going to make a difference. Maybe you should put a little bit more money. But let's say you have, $10 million. Not saying that's what I have. I'm just throwing a random number out there. Well, now 5% of 10 million is $500,000. That's a lot of money. So if you have $500,000 in altcoins, you don't need to go in with 30. You see what I'm saying? The more that you've accumulated Bitcoin, the less you have to speculate on the altcoins, but the higher the potential return for the upside. But either way, you can't win. You talk about altcoins, the maxis hate you. You don't talk about altcoins enough. You're an old man boomer. So in today's episode, I want to start off, we were talking about Polygon, right? Talking about layer 2s. Now, they may not be the hottest thing right now, but again, this is where I want to get you guys in potentially early. So Lightlink, this is a new up and coming project, okay? I'm trying to get you guys in as early as possible, because that's when you can make the most gains. This is a gasless blockchain network for enterprises, dApps, and millions of users. So think about the idea of how expensive it can be to use Ethereum, right? Especially if you're trading on Uniswap, you can have fees of up to $100, $200. I'm not even kidding. And it only gets worse as the congestion and as the retail mania flows in. Now, what's awesome about Lightlink over here is that they already have 75 million blocks on the mainnet. So this isn't some kind of a promise, something that eventually will get around to it. As you guys can see over here, one of the beautiful things as well is that they actually are open source. And I think this is amazing. It's kind of shady when projects, they don't really release the source code. They don't allow people to check the GitHub. The fact that they already have, blocks on the mainnet and the fact that they are open source is definitely something to keep an eye on. And I just wanted to point this out for you because they have 11 days for the token distribution. So you can gain early access, you can get involved in this, and you can get involved in a project almost like I said, as early as, for example, with Matic and Polygon before it really gets popular. Now, again, you have pre-sales, you have early angel investors, so there may be some dumps, there may be people selling some coins. That's fine because you have to understand how big something can get. So Lightlink right now for me currently would be my sort of layer 2 solution for this cycle, okay? And another thing just to point out is they're doing actually like 400 times the amount of transactions as Ethereum. So, you saw what happened with Polygon, not trying to shill it, but, hey, time will tell, guys. So this is definitely one that I am keeping my eyes on. So this is a little bit more of like an old school type topic. Now, moving on to these newer concepts, we've been talking about Gamefi, which I think is going to be really big. And we've been talking about AI. So you have Gamefi and you have AI. Well, this is a project, Game GPT, which is actually combining both of these aspects together. So it's an AI-driven game builder. Now, they have this token Duel, and Duel is, you could see, going to be used in this ecosystem. They have 10,000 games powered by Duel. You see, you can wager on billion-dollar games, etc. And, coming down here, it says trusted by industry OGs. Now, DAO Maker, they've been in the space for a while, CoinFund, and of course, anytime I see Animoca brands, it's most likely a very legitimate quality project, because these guys, they're very heavy in the game space. And like I said, this is sort of a double whammy because it also is AI. And just news that had come out, they said in the first 7 days of Injective is here, Duel is teaming up with Ninja, the first meme coin. We'll get into meme coins in a bit. Launched on Injective. So Injective, another project, by the way, that we were very, very early to speak about. We spoke about Injective literally when it was in pre-sale phase. And it had a crazy boom, had a crazy bust. Everybody said it was over. It was a pump and dump. And look what happened. It put in a new all-time high. So these altcoins are 1,000 times more volatile than Bitcoin, but they can also be 1,000 times more profitable. Not guaranteed, nothing guaranteed, not financial advice, right? But as you can see right here, this is definitely something that you guys would want to pay attention to. So, right now, this is a token that's actually out and it's been trending upwards, and you can see it's really starting to gain momentum, and I really think it's due to those AI narratives and those GameFi narratives. So I would definitely, not financial advice, but check out Game GPT. It's currently only sitting at about a $41 million market cap, and these things can very easily get to billions to multiple billion-dollar market caps in these types of situations, right? Now, why do they get this high? Is there any real justification behind the valuations? Again, as I said, we are entering that mania phase. Like I said, we're not in the euphoria phase yet, but we are in the mania phase. Another thing that I'm focused on a lot, and some people are saying that maybe this is a dead topic, that it's over. Nobody cares about ordinals. Nobody cares about, BRC20s. I disagree. I disagree, because a lot of these people that are buying right now for the first time with the ETFs, getting their toes wet, where are they starting? They're starting with Bitcoin, okay? And then what you're gonna see is, number one, you're gonna see, oh, they're building on Bitcoin. They're creating things on Bitcoin. Well, I'm already comfortable with Bitcoin, so I'll have a look into these ordinals or these ruins or these, BRC20s. Or, this is another thing, you have a lot of the, Bitcoin maxis, right? Where every single token is a shitcoin. They're all shitcoins and they're all going to zero, right? Maybe they could be right, over the next, I don't know, possibly, decades or so. Bitcoin is really the only thing I believe in, long term. But, it's funny how now you're starting to see the Bitcoin OGs like, oh, well, I think I'll get an ordinal or an inscription or something like that. And it's like, oh, okay, so if it's on Bitcoin, and the OG Bitcoiners, they're the ones, these guys are billionaires. I've met some of these. So, one of them coming out is Ordinals Bots. Now, this IDO literally opened, and I'm pretty sure it's already, I think it may be already filled out, full or sold out, but this is a project that I'm keeping my eyes on. I'm not going to go too much into detail about Ordinals Bot today, because this is a project that I believe I think it's going to be absolutely revolutionary to the space. It has a first mover advantage, and first mover advantages, you see a lot of success if you happen to be the first to market to really do something. I'm not going to go into detail. You guys can do research. I'm not going to just spoon feed you, shill coins to buy. Have a look at Ordinals Bot. There may be some room left for this, but these guys are, I heard, like 10 times oversubscribed, and that they got a lot of support from even some of the OG Bitcoin maxis. So, talking about something that we can actually look into right now is actually Trex20. Now, first of all, you have to love this website. It's very old school OG Bitcoin. Imagine when they had the Bitcoin faucets, or you were, you would have these really old paper wallets on your desktop. So basically, Trex20 is it's obviously on the Bitcoin protocol itself, and they're going to have games. They're going to have NFT inscriptions. They also have a lotto, and they're going to be available on these main already, Gate.io, MEXC Global, right? And if we come over here, they have 3 games in season 1 and more in the following season. So, this may look silly, games on Bitcoin, NFTs on Bitcoin. And, of course, there's going to be some people saying, well, why would you build on Bitcoin? I actually have an episode coming up soon. I have a special guest I'm going to bring on the channel, and we're going to talk about why people are definitely underestimating the Bitcoin blockchain as a whole, but we'll get back to that. But this is definitely a project that I would have a look at, and the reason that I'm bringing this up to you specifically is because they are launching quite soon. So if this was something that you were interested in obviously getting involved in, guys, this is definitely something I would check out. And one thing you can do right now is they have their Genesis Ordinals NFT whitelist round, which is live. I don't know how long. Currently, it's around 0.0045 BTC, so I can't even do that math in my head. Somebody correct me what that is. But this is pretty exciting, guys. And I do think that a lot of people are sleeping right now on the Bitcoin ordinal rune BRC20 space. I think, like, you know, Ordi did really well and then everybody kind of forgot about it, but I guarantee you this narrative is going to surge back the same way that, you know, everyone thought Gamefi was over, right? Last cycle, they said that's it, like these games suck, no one's playing them. Yeah, well, guess what? Now they're doing amazing, right? So, you know, same thing with layer 2s, right? It was nobody was talking about them, and now it's all about, you know, having something on top of a blockchain so that it can be faster than it was before. The last, or not the last, but another category, and I know I'm rapid firing a lot here. I'm not trying to really focus on any particular thing. Do your own research. Don't listen to me. Everything I talk about is just, you're just going to lose all your money, and just don't listen to anything I say. You know what I mean? Not really, but, you know, disclaimer. But yeah, I mean, for example, Soil is real world assets. Now, ever since BlackRock came out and talked about how they're going to start tokenizing real world assets, I believe that this is going to be a major trend as well for crypto. Now, this price, you know, it was just hanging out around here between 20 cents and 70 cents. And down here was when we had officially started talking about it, which, by the way, if you guys are not following me over on Twitter, that is where I will do a lot of comments, retweets. You know, it's a lot easier to say, hey, check this out. Here's a quick retweet, or here's like something, you know, you could check out, rather than me sit here for 20, 25 minutes making a video. And to be honest with you, I really don't have that kind of time to make these videos all the time anymore. I have a lot going on, but I digress. So, you know, and then we had mentioned it on the video, and it was about $2. It had skyrocketed up to about $3.69. Obviously, some people took profit, and it currently is consolidating. So, you know, when we talk about real world assets, there's another project which I actually don't want to get into too much today because I have a lot to say about Swarm Markets. These guys are also dealing with real world assets. And yeah, just have a look. I mean, you know, they've been out for a while, so they've also been grinding up, as you could see. This doesn't look crazy parabolic. It doesn't look like they're just going to instantly dump, but, you know, people take profits along the way. I urge you to take profits as well. But again, you know, $81 million market cap, these are the types of projects that get into the billions. So here is one that has not even come out yet. Now, this is Limpid. I've actually spoken to the team about this, and they're doing the finest real world assets on the blockchain. So we have RWAs, again, keyword. So they're talking about horses, art, luxury watches, US treasuries, real estate, and more. And, you know, you might think this sounds silly to be getting into, but again, you know, BlackRock is looking into it. And I do believe at some point you're going to see tokenization of everything. In fact, this is something that we had talked about years ago on the channel. And, you know, sometimes these predictions, they don't happen overnight. Sometimes it takes a little bit longer, right, to catch on. But it makes sense. You know, if you think about tokenized real estate or something of that nature, right? Imagine having a building, you know, for example, imagine if this, there you go, right there. That's crazy. They actually kind of mentioned it right there. So this is, I think that's that like crazy beach club in Dubai. And imagine, so you have these tokenized assets and you can do dividends, or you can do maybe a form of NFTs, and each person can have a percentage of, like, let's say like a real estate deal, right? And if I'm an investor with equity, I can actually have a percentage, and that percentage is easily, and transparently recognizable, right? It could be in a wallet, it could be via NFT, or just tokens in general. And obviously the reason why you'd want to get this is because, well, this is probably going to end up being a pretty interesting, I mean, you see the comparison right here, tokenization, but this has real yield. They're going to have a debit card. So yeah, I would definitely check out Limpid, guys. That is something. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because you can see right here, if you go to their website, limpid.io, you can actually get into this IDO right now, which is the earliest you could possibly get into something. I mean, if something didn't actually play out and it failed, well, I guess that sucks for everybody because the early investors probably lost money too. So I try to help people get in as absolutely early as possible. Now, on to the final category, the dreaded category, but a category that we have to talk about is meme coins. I'm actually going to take a sip of water for this one. So meme coins, guys. All right. Now, do I necessarily think that meme coins are productive for the ecosystem, for crypto? Well, you can argue that. But I think what it is it's more of a pushback against the traditional system. You know, it's kind of like, well, if you guys can just print money and you guys can just do whatever you want, then you know what? We're going to print money and we're going to gamble. You know, it's okay if we go to the casino and we put everything on red for 50-50 and we lose it all, or we play scratch-offs all day. That's okay, all right? But, you know, gambling in meme coins, that's a big no-no. I mean, really, it's just about community. I think it's just a pushback thing. I don't really see it affecting Bitcoin as much. Last time it was more of a cycle top indicator. But, you know, here was something that we had mentioned in passing, right? And this is just a random meme coin. I don't even know what this is. Motai, M-O-U-T-A-I. It's literally a picture of a soda can. But someone, I'm not going to say who told me, but somebody was like, hey, you should buy some of this. So I did. And it just absolutely skyrocketed. It went up like 10x, and I think it's up double since I last mentioned it. So it is possible to make money in meme coins. However, it's like incredibly risky, and I would definitely not put in more than you can afford to lose. But, you know, there are those people that did make millions of dollars on Dog with Hat, for example. But that's not common, though. Let's be real. It's not common. It's much more common that you buy a meme coin and you lose money. That is the much more common, outcome when it comes to it. So this is what I was looking at over here. So this is called Cat-to-Moto. Now, why am I bringing this up? Well, I'm bringing it up for a few reasons. Number one, it's a meme coin. That's what we're talking about. Number two, you know what they say when they're like, you know what comes after dog season, right? Dog with hat, right? Cat season, right? That's like the whole joke. And then you see cat coins pumping. Well, this is interesting. So this is Cat-a-Moto, and it's basically coming over from Tencent. Now, they have a launch pad, but this is their first ever meme coin that they're launching. Now, what is interesting about this is a few things. The first thing that's interesting is that this is actually a fair launch. So anybody can get in, anyone can buy these tokens, and 100% of these tokens are getting unlocked. So I just want you guys to think about that. Like 100% of these tokens are getting unlocked. Now that might freak a lot of people out. Oh my God, everybody's going to be dumping. Maybe, but I feel like it may not, because sometimes what happens is when everyone gets all of their distribution at the same time, like even these airdrops, for example. Do you remember when Uniswap, people just woke up one day and there were tons of free tokens in everyone's wallets and we all had like $2,000, $3,000? It's like the price tanked a little bit, but because it was such a fair launch, it actually ended up creating this massive community of holders. And then the price continued to pump, and then all the people who sold early felt kind of stupid. So again, this is just a meme coin, but what's interesting is also they have hidden secret little Easter eggs all around this website. So, again, I would just check out Cat-a-Moto. It's catamoto.cat. Powered by Tencent. Okay, so like I said, they already have a successful launch pad, and it's a completely fair launch. So it's kind of like, if this coin doesn't do well, then I don't know, because everybody had the tokens and it was a fair launch, and it's not like the devs are like dumping on the little guys. So I would definitely check out Cat-a-Moto, guys. It seems like it could be fun. It's a meme coin. Do your own due diligence. Don't put in more than you can afford to lose. I'm just saying, dog season, cat season, first on the launch pad, fair launch, what could possibly go wrong, right? So check that out if you guys are interested. And also, actually, just Tencent, as you guys could see, has also been doing quite well. And I think it's because they're starting to really ramp up a lot of those launchpad, and you need to have the token, etc. Market cap almost about 200 million. So, I mean, if we're gonna put the basis on $billion market caps, then this could have a 5x maybe in it, maybe more. It all depends on everything that really goes on. So yeah, I think I'm just gonna end here, guys. I think that's about where I'm gonna end today. So I'm gonna talk about BloFin in a second, but my main point I'm trying to make is we've been talking about Bitcoin for about a year and a half, and the reason I was doing this is because we were in the bear market. We were down at $17,000-ish, and I really believe that there were a lot of people that were giving up on Bitcoin, giving up on crypto, right? But really, the point I was trying to make back then is we know that Bitcoin leads the markets. I would have been shocked if Bitcoin didn't move and altcoins just started going parabolic. That usually does not happen. It never happens, right? So in this particular instance, I was focused on Bitcoin, but guys, let's be honest. I mean, we have had so much time to accumulate Bitcoin. I have been trying to drill into people's heads, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin. And hopefully up until this point, if you've been dollar cost averaging, you should be doing quite well. But we are now entering, I hate to say it, guys, the later part of the bear market. Now, keep in mind, the craziest part of the bear market is like the very last 5 to 10%. We are not there yet, but we are about to enter that mania phase. Now, regardless of whether or not Bitcoin has, a 20% drawdown or a 30% drawdown, I don't really care because there's nothing in the charts that's telling me that Bitcoin is about to slow down anytime soon. But the reality is, if you want to double your money right now in Bitcoin, you want to double your money, right? Bitcoin has to literally go to $140,000. Now, I think that's going to happen. I mean, the likelihood, we've gone over the statistics. It should happen. It's in our middle range. It's not our most bullish case. It's not our most bearish case. The bearish case is like we hit 100K and that's it. The mid potential possibility is around $150,000, $70,000 Bitcoin, right? But in the meantime, if you're able, or if you feel like you've missed out, obviously dollar cost average, if you want to sleep better at night, if it's your first cycle, Bitcoin is the safest thing to go into. Just buy Bitcoin and shut up. And that's it. And you'll make money. It'll go up. And even if you buy the top, just wait 4 years. And then statistically, you're up 3x anyway, right? But for a lot of the newer people and for people who feel like they just can't get to that amount of Bitcoin that they want, well, you have a few options. You could not do crypto. You can go get a second job. You can save your money. You can sell your car like I did. I sold my vehicles. I didn't pay my mortgage for like a year. That was crazy. So that was what I did to buy more Bitcoin, right? But you can also take advantage in these altcoins. And, I know there's going to be some people that are like hating in the comments, like, oh, how could you talk about altcoins? Look, guys, you don't have to, you can go watch like Bitcoin channels. I mean, we've been talking about Bitcoin. Anyway, guys, I digress. But as I'm telling you, there's a lot of projects that are coming out right now. They're not all going to be winners, but I do try my best to find ones that I believe could do well long term. And you have to have a long term view on it. You can't just be like, oh, well, I just bought this. I bought this token, and it's been 2 weeks, and it's down or it's not moving. Remember what I showed you with Matic. Matic went sideways for months and months, and then had a 70-80% crash. Okay. And still went sideways, only to end up literally pumping thousands upon thousands of percent for those who were patient. And, our community, if you had those diamond hands, we were some of the people that held, right, throughout that turbulence, because that's how we do it. Worst case, you could take back, if you double your money, take half back, right? And then you're just playing with the house money. So I realize I've been speaking over this BloFin. So this is a new website. This is a new exchange, guys. And this is one that I've actually spoke again with the people. I know some of the people that work at this exchange. And, some of these exchanges lately, there's a lot of KYC. There's maybe some shadiness going on. I would never keep more coins on the exchange than I'm willing to potentially get hacked and lost forever. But I will just say right here, that we have partnered, or at least they're allowing us to have this bonus with the community. So if you want to use the link below for BloFin, then you can get all these crazy bonuses. And these bonuses are actually not just tiered for the whales. Sometimes a lot of these campaigns, what they'll do is they'll be like, oh, you can get like $30,000 in bonuses. It's like, yeah, but you have to do like, you know, just insane amounts of volumes in trading, and it's just most people don't have that kind of money, right? So these are more realistic deposits, right? You know, for example, if you deposit 5,000, you get a free 110 to trade with. For whale traders, obviously you can get even bigger bonuses up to 1,000, or if you just are maybe just a successful trader, you can get a combination of these, right? You can deposit 20,000, get 1,000. You can trade 25 million aggregate volume, which sounds crazy, but it's really not. When it comes to leverage, which by the way, I don't really suggest using crazy high leverage either, especially if you're trading altcoins. Well, that's not true. I've actually traded Ethereum before, but I only stick to Bitcoin when it comes to leverage. And you definitely, if you're a beginner, you don't really want to go any higher than like 3x, because that's 33%. We've seen 30% drawdowns, right? And 5x if you're like really crazy, but any higher than that, and you're literally just degenerately gambling higher than that. I don't really feel like going into detail why. It's a really simple equation. You know, if you do 2x, 50%, you know, you get 100%, 50% drawdown, you lose it all, right? You go to 3x, now it's 33%. 33% down, you get liquidated. 33% up, you've doubled your money, okay? You see the math? 4x, 25%, 5x, 20%. So you see? But you see how quick it goes from the beginning when it goes 50 to 33 to 25 to 20, right? You can see how quick. So, you know, somebody doing 100x leverage, you're basically just asking, you're pretty much just giving your money to the exchange. So these guys are no KYC. They have a pretty good withdrawal for no KYC if you're interested. They have a lot of crypto coins on them. Still, I have LevX and Apex and all these other ones, but this is definitely a really good one that I would check out. Kind of a silly name, BloFin, but I guess it's supposed to be like a whale. I don't know. I could see some people having fun with that name. But yeah, guys, ultimately, that is it for me today. Thank you so much for coming back to the channel. Old school video in front of the green screen, a little bit different, guys. But this is that crazy part of the market where you're seeing, you know, these 10x, 20x, 100x. And yes, there are going to be some 1,000x tokens. Now, are we going to get in on them? You know, I'll try my best. You know, drop some comments below if you think there's any coins or tokens I should look at. But again, before I sign off, I feel like I have to say this, although I think you guys should know this by now. Bitcoin is the apex predator. Ultimately, you do not want to be really over allocated to anything super speculative, especially once we start hitting that euphoria phase, okay? We're not there yet. Follow the channel, get subscribed, follow me on Twitter, join the Telegram. I will let you know. I don't charge money. I don't have any paid groups. So if anybody's asking you, they're scammers, but I will always tell you what I'm doing. And if I can't get a video out, I'll either be in the Telegram group or I'll be over on Twitter. I don't really use the other socials that much because they're just a little crazy. But that's it for me today, guys. Super freaking long video. Oh, this is definitely like the old days. So thanks again for coming back to the channel. If you made it all the way to the end, I don't know. I don't know what you're doing here. You're crazy. You're crazy. Internet degen. No, you're not. I love you guys. You're awesome. Until next time, if you want, you could trade. I do have the Apex tutorial and, of course, Femex. They're still pretty good. Femex, they lowered their withdrawal limit. So, again, that's why I'm talking about BloFin. But if you are interested, guys, until next time, stay crypto. And, of course, peace out.